In this video, we're going to discuss responsibility accounting. So responsibility accounting is a system in which you break up the organization into subunits called responsibility centers. There are different types of responsibility centers. You have a cost center, you have a profit center, investment center, and so forth. For example, you break the company down and you say, okay, we've got our accounting department, we've got our marketing department, and so forth. And then the marketing department would be responsible for all the marketing costs. Then every line item, for example, in your budgeted income statement, every line item, every type of revenue, every type of cost is the responsibility of some person. So for example, the cost of the accounting department, any expenses related to accounting for your company, could be traced back to the manager of the accounting department. So if you have a grocery store and their corporate office has an accounting department, if there's any issue and you say, hey, the accounting costs are getting out of control, you would go and speak to the person who is the manager of the accounting department because they are the head of that responsibility center. Responsibility accounting you most frequently see in a large decentralized organization, but any type of organization could use responsibility accounting. So let me give you an example with a company that I'm sure you know. So Apple is a very, very large company. They operate in multiple countries around the globe. And so let's say that Apple uses responsibility accounting. In terms of breaking up their organization into different subunits, you could think about, you could break them up by geographic region. So you could say, here's Apple's China division, here's Apple's US division, and so forth. And you could have different countries in which they operate, and you could break out into different components. But then within the US division, you could have, maybe they have their own accounting department that is just for the U.S. division that handles all the accounting related to the U.S. division. It's possible that they have their own legal department that is just specific to the U.S. division. And so if we take the accounting department as an example, let's go back to this U.S. and China and so forth. These could be responsibility center where you say, okay, let's measure the profitability by country. So we'd have our profit for the Apple in the US operations, Apple China, what's their profit? And so this would be a profit center. And then also if they actually have the responsibility to make their own investments, we call it an investment center. But let's just stick with this profit. So we say, oh, if Apple US is losing money, there's someone we would go speak to that is responsible for Apple US. And then we would talk to them about what's going on, the president of Apple US. And then if we drill down, we could say, okay, we've got these even smaller subunits. So the accounting department or the legal department, and we could say, hey, if the costs seem to be spiraling out of control with the legal department, we could go and speak to the head attorney or whoever's in charge of the legal department. There's always a person that is responsible, that we hold every single type of revenue, every single type of cost. There has to be somebody who's responsible so that, for example, with costs, that the costs don't just get out of control. If there's somebody who's responsible, if you see that the costs are going up and up over time, we can go and speak with someone and say, okay, this is the person responsible for it. What can we do to manage the costs so that they don't continue on this upward trajectory?